And business leaders who met Prime Minister Modi hailed the growth in several sectors, including digital, power and semiconductors.
It's a very exciting, to meet with Prime Minister Modi in person. His leadership is exceptional. For the past, this is his third term, right? For the past 2 terms, you can see that India has become one of the major player globally, the 5th largest the economies in the world. And I would like to continue to encourage him to open up the market, to consider some of the new policies, or improve some of the existing policy to encourage more collaboration, particularly with Singaporean companies and then with the Singaporean investments. We're talking about, high efficiency transportation systems. We're talking about smart cities. We're talking about the energy strategy and planning for clean and reusable energy and hydrogens. And then also the other very important sector is aviation. With the population growth, we'll see the aviation-related infrastructure will be in high demand. So these are the areas, and of course the most critical part is really the sustainability, and we need to be very mindful about how to design and plan and build the future cities in everything in a very sustainable way.
Commitment to digital India, the commitment to digitalization across all of Indian society has been actually something that is, for a lot of places, an example to follow. And I think we've been very excited and pleased by that, because what we've been able to do is enable the economy this way, the digital economy. And we've been able to serve more than 1,000 companies, small, medium, large companies in India, plus some of the big Fortune 500 companies, the big cloud players, because that enables them to come in and provide the digital infrastructure to allow all the other things like AI, greater e-commerce, and the proliferation of data penetration and broadband across the country. To demonstrate money where our mouth is, we are actually investing more than 26,000 crores, 3.2 billion US in the next 5 years to enable this. It means that substantial 550 megawatts of capacity will come online, data center capacity, which means that now the foundations across major cities and first, second tier cities, which we have been starting to invest in, not just the first tier cities, we've seen that basically that demand is increasing rapidly, and that will allow that whole digital India story to really expand and grow dramatically.
I was really very impressed with and encouraged by what Mr. Modi said to all of us. This is Mr. Modi's 3rd term as Prime Minister of India. And all of us around the table have been in India, investing in India. My own firm has been in India for 20 years. And clearly what we have done in the last 10 years, during Mr. Modi's time as Prime Minister, has been much more than what we could achieve in earlier periods. But what Mr. Modi said, that in his next 5 years, in his 3rd term, he will achieve much more than what he did in his first 10 years. So this has given us a lot of encouragement that, his increased vigor and his focus on so many different aspects, from space to air travel to housing to AI, digital India, just so many opportunities for us and for all of my colleagues, the 20 businesses who are present today, that we will be going back really very encouraged with the opportunities that India presents to us as Singapore companies, and as we're looking to expand beyond the shores of Singapore. We were really taken by what Mr. Modi said just recently, that we will reform, you will have to perform and also transform. That's really words which mean a lot to us. But actually, we have been seeing that happen.
And DD India correspondent Akshay Dongare joins us live from Singapore. Akshay, Prime Minister Modi is en route home as we speak. Give us a sense of how his visit was received by the leaders, businesses and the people of Singapore.
As far as Prime Minister's visit to Singapore is concerned, we saw a rousing welcome here in the country. In fact, the Home Minister of Singaporean government in Singapore, in fact, was personally present at the airport to receive the Prime Minister. Then we saw our Prime Minister's engagement with Prime Minister of Singapore, Mr. Lawrence Wong, where on the first day Prime Minister visited his official residence, where a dinner was hosted for Prime Minister. The next day there were a range of meetings, including a meeting with the political leadership at the Parliament of Singapore. Then Prime Minister also called on the President of the country, as well as meeting the senior minister, also the former Prime Minister of the country here in Singapore. And it's not just the political leadership, Shubhendu. We saw the kind of business leadership emerge to meet and greet Prime Minister Narendra Modi. In fact, at the round table that was held today, we saw all the top CEOs of the country, be it the semiconductor sector, be it the aviation sector, connectivity, telecom, infrastructure project companies, along with the associations of Singapore businesses being present at the round table that was held by the Prime Minister. And in fact, a lot of positive response had come out of it when it comes to the response that was given by the business leadership.
And we see that the domain of India-Singapore cooperation has been expanded. There is a special focus on a partnership in semiconductor space. Tell us more about that.
Well, the reason why semiconductor was in focus is also because as far as the semiconductor value chain is concerned, Singapore is one of the leading countries that has been pioneering in this particular sector. In fact, it has been about 56 years since Singapore started working on semiconductors. About 10% of GDP of Singapore is dependent on the semiconductor industry. So Singapore is one of the leading nations in semiconductor technology, be it the testing of the products, be it the final manufacturing as well, and packaging of the semiconductors into the final products, be it automobiles, be it computers, quantum computing. So all of these aspects are quite important, and in fact they are considered the building blocks of technology in the technology as we know it in today's world. So semiconductor remains a focus for India because India is eyeing at this huge market around the globe that is dependent on the semiconductors. In fact, we have seen the recent crises that had emerged due to the shortage of semiconductors, because if there is a shortage of semiconductor and the business leaders also understand, then it can create a crisis not just in this particular industry but also in several other industries. There can be a major fallout, and that is why companies as well as countries do not want to limit this crucial technology to only one geographical location, and that is why the focus is on expanding the semiconductor business to as many friendly nations as possible, especially countries that have political stability, countries that have skilled workforce, countries that have manufacturing capabilities, and India exactly fits the bill for this particular purpose, and that is why we saw both sides being quite keen on expanding the business of semiconductors.
Akshay, thank you for joining us with those updates.